Hello all, and welcome back to Sounds of Her Love. I haven't recorded anything for this for a while, and I haven't even recorded anything for my channel for a while. But now I'm gonna get back to it. Last time I played, I chose the top option every time and chose a birthday that didn't end up meaning anything. This time I'm going to choose what I would actually choose regardless of what position it's in. And I'm also going to be testing out birthdays, see if they matter at all, because it didn't actually come up. I assume they wouldn't make that a thing unless it mattered. So, same name as last time, Paul. Something's ringing. Why won't it stop? My hand limply reaches out toward the noise, but I can't seem to locate it. Must be around here somewhere. I sense something rigid at my fingertips. Suddenly I hear a loud crash beside me. The ringing stops. Forcing myself upright, an intense light greets my eyes. Beside me stands a hazy figure I can't make out. Do you mind not making so much noise in the morning? Your sister is still asleep. As my eyes adjust to the light, I see my mother standing beside me. Look downwards and see my table lying on the floor, my alarm clock just next to it, broken into pieces. I'm not cleaning that up. Just get ready for school and come downstairs. I made breakfast. My mother walks off. I don't think she's particularly happy. Well, I doubt many parents would be with their children creating such a ruckus. Still, it wasn't my fault. I was half asleep for crying out loud. I pry myself away from the bed sheets and pick up the table and the broken alarm clock off the floor. I read what the clock once read and conclude it's almost 7 a.m. Unfortunately, today is a Monday, so it's back to school with me. Although it's cliche, I'm not really looking forward to it. It's not that I dislike it, but you'd think after transferring here things would have been a lot more lively. So far, nothing out of the ordinary has happened. Though I can't really expect life to be like that. This isn't a manga after all. Opening my drawers, I pull out my uniform. It's still as good as new. I haven't had much time to wear it in. I've only been here a week. For an international school, the uniform is quite generic. I was expecting something more prestigious. Guess this is still Japan after all. Even though I've lived here all my life, my mother was dead set on sending me here. She's not a native, so she at least wanted me to connect with her side of the family. Despite her premise, getting in touch with my Anglican heritage was a good idea. School isn't even English, it's Welsh. I'm pretty sure that's the country north of England. I don't think there's much difference anyway. After finishing doing up my blazer, I hear a shout from downstairs. Son, your breakfast will go cold at this rate. You may as well let me have yours. You're going to waste it. Letting out a sigh, I close the door to my room and head to join my parents. Reaching the dining room, my mother and father greet me with warm smiles. And maybe not so much my mother. I still think she's pretty angry. My father gives an empty chair a haughty slap, still smiling all the while. Sit down, my son. We have a hefty breakfast your mother would approve of. Of course I would. I made it after all. In front of me sits a traditional English breakfast. Eggs, toast, beans, sausages, and the like. I don't think I can eat all of this. The empty chair is pulled out from beside me. I guess my sister finally woke up. When it comes to the mornings, she's not very talkative or noticeable to say the least. I'm sure she'll fire up later, though. Ah, yes, my beautiful family is gathered at last. My sister acknowledges my father with a quick glance and starts eating her breakfast in silence. Tell me, Paul, how are your studies? Was that hefty fee worth it? The school is private and teaches a foreign curriculum, so tuition fees are quite large. Luckily, my father can pay for it, and it's only for my final year. It's going okay. The initial buzz of it wore off after the third day. I guess it's like a normal school, not much different from the ones here in Japan. I did have experience at a traditional Japanese high school, but due to our relocation to Tokyo, I had to transfer. If there's one noticeable comparison, it's the students. Most of them aren't natives, and a lot more are quite full of themselves. Even I'm only half Japanese. Really? That much for a normal school? What was the point of that fee then? You want our son to have the best education possible, right? That needs closer to my side of the family. Reasonable. Tell me this, son. Have you been speaking to any girls at least? Are you really asking him that? Both my parents engage in a stare-off. Things like this happen all the time. For them, this is only a bit of banter. Checking the clock on the wall, I realize I'm a bit behind schedule. I give my family a farewell and head towards the door. Wait! The clock is... I hear my sister say something just as I leave, though she doesn't chase after me to tell me. It was strange to hear it this time of day, but I guess I can't fret about it now. I continue on the journey I'm only just getting used to. The street leading to the school is particularly empty. Only a couple of locals are walking by, and the number of students is quite low. Checking my watch, I realize I had left considerably early. I guess the clock at home was a bit fast. Believe in the broken clock, whose side is time on. A faint noise distracts me from my wrist. Edemy is a female student, presumably from my school, picking up the contents of her bag off the floor. I guess she dropped it. I consider helping her, but by the time I move my feet toward her, she has already finished and continues on towards school. She rubs the back of her head and her braids sway softly in the wind. Just as I pass where she was standing, I notice a small card on the floor. Instinctively, I pick it up. In my hands is a library card with what I assume to be her name on it. Saradwin? Considering this is Welsh school, I guess that's the origin of her name. I look up and she is nowhere in sight. Oh man. Quickly setting myself off, I run towards the entrance of the school. I just hope I can catch up to her. It doesn't take me long to get her in my sight. I call out to her, Saradwin, you dropped this. Saradwin turns around flustered, and I approach her with ragged breath. Here, you go.
Thank you.
She gives me a shy response as I hand her back the card.
How did you know my name?
It doesn't look like she's very comfortable talking to me. It's on the card.
Oh, it's pronounced Carrie, like a K.
Sorry, my bad.
Don't worry.
Carrie still looks rather uneasy. I guess some people just aren't that fluent socializing with others. Well, it's a good thing you haven't got it back. We're both pretty early, so it would have been taking a while for someone else to find it. By then, they probably have given it into Lost and Found.
Thank you.
She thanks me again, and her eyes are averted slightly away from my direction.
This card is important to me.
Maybe put it in a safer place? She wouldn't risk losing it then. I know I don't have the right to tell her what to do with her stuff, but things like this are common sense.
I use it a lot. it's easier for me to reach it quickly.
I guess she's an avid book fan. She must be quite smart. That or she just likes books. Decided to continue the conversation. What sorts of books are you interested in? Fiction or nonfiction?
I read a variety.
Well, that was a short answer.
I want to study literature.
She looks at me as if she expects me to belittle her, though I completely deny her expectations. Sounds great. It's good to have something you're passionate about. Her lips move. I guess she can't stop herself from smiling. Aww. Moving my feet again, I set off towards the entrance of the school, turning around to face Carrie before I make any sufficient progress. Still early, but wish I'd still go to class. It's a bit cold after all.
You're right. I need to check what class I'm in.
She doesn't know what class she's in. School started a week ago. Don't tell me she has amnesia. Carrie shyly passes me and heads towards the school, and I follow suit, heading towards my class. She was a pretty interesting person. Classes are well underway, and the class is filled with a widespread sense of lethargy. This is a Monday after all, and lunch is just around the corner. Does anyone really want to learn about the structure of the inner mitochondrial membrane right before lunch? I lean back in my chair and stare down at my notes, which are little more than scribbles on a sparse page. In the end, I can't really say I expected anything different from transferring here. After all, the basic principles of teaching are the same wherever you are. There's no real reason why this school would be any different. Though the extra language lessons are a pain, just as I let out a small, sharp, definitely noticeable yawn, the teacher glares sharply in my direction. Bored, are you, Paul? No, sir. Oh, that's a surprise. How about you answer the question at the bottom of page 3, then? I look at the closed book on my desk and realize what the teacher is referring to. I definitely haven't done a good job at pretending to work. Still, I oblige and turn to page 3. Moving my eyes towards the bottom of the page, I find a question that's somewhat relevant to what I managed to hear during the lesson. What is the space between the two mitochondrial membranes called? Is that the matrix? No, that's the bit inside. Well, boy, do you have an answer? Last time I answered mitochondrial gap. This time, I'm gonna go for the other thing that's actually an answer rather than a refusal. Looking across the opposite page, I spot a diagram of mitochondria with a nicely labeled arrow showing me the answer. Intermembrane space, sir. The confidence in my voice, or more likely the fact I got the answer right, seems to have left my teacher surprised. Well done, Paul. I guess you were paying attention after all. Certainly wasn't. The teacher continues on with the lesson, leaving me to lean back in my chair once again. This time, trying not to yawn. Soon enough, class ends and I trail behind a mass gathering to exit the room. The crowd slowly shifts. The class only has about 30 people in it anyway. Stagger behind the other students residing in the corridor and make my way to the cafeteria. Chatter radiates from the swaths of people in the cafeteria. I weave my way through those standing around and people walking in the opposite direction. The line is long as always. Unlike most schools, the food here is actually quite good, so naturally it's in high demand. I join this queue of students left famished by the morning lessons. Time slows as the line slowly inches forward. All this for a sandwich? Oh no, mate. They're lush, ain't they? Made with 100% Welsh beef. That's what they say, anyway. I find it hard to believe they'd import that stuff to Japan just for this one school. Eventually, I'm the one gazing at what's on offer at the counter. To be honest, that guy was right. The beef here sure is lush. It's quite a prestigious school. I buy the sandwich and stuff it into my bag. This place is quite packed, so I doubt I'd find a place to sit down. Just as I'm about to leave, I spot a table that's actually empty. Well, almost. I notice someone familiar eating by herself. It's that girl from earlier. Carrie, wasn't it? I wonder if I should approach her. I hardly know her, but I kind of want to sit down. It's cold outside. You know what? I might as well approach her. She's alone after all. I've been in that situation plenty of times this past week. I know how it feels. Okay, that maybe I would have left her be. I don't know. If it's cold outside, maybe weighing that against sitting with somebody I just met this morning. Well, she is cute and seems nice, so maybe I would have sat down. One step at a time, I make my way over to the table. Her silky braids gently rest by her sides, and unlike before, her braids only move due to her actions. As I draw closer, she takes notice of my presence and directs her head towards me. She hesitates to speak, but I plan to take the initiative from the beginning. Hi, Carrie, it's me, from earlier. I don't think I ever got a chance to introduce myself. I tried my best to avoid sounding nervous. Walking up to a girl sitting by herself is pretty noticeable to everyone else in the hall. My name is Paul.
Hello. Thanks for earlier.
She is still pretty on edge. Perhaps I should just apologize to her and make a quick retreat. Sorry for walking up to you so suddenly.
Don't worry. I don't normally have people to eat with, so I'm glad.
She abruptly stopped speaking after giving me a sign of gratitude. Her cheeks turn a rosy shade of red, and she directs her eyes away from me. I guess she's embarrassed. It did strike me as odd as to why she's alone. Aside from her lack of self-confidence, she seems like a fairly nice person.
I had an illness.
She goes straight on to why she's so alone. I never asked her, but I'm glad she thinks of me as close enough to her to explain it to me, even though we just met. Though, given that she seems so introverted, maybe I am the only person that is.
For a while, I was immobilized. As recently as last week.
Is that why she told me earlier that she needed to find out what class she was in? Her face continues to grow to deeper shades of red. Maybe I should converse with her to ease her explanation. Though with her personality, I don't know if it'll actually help. I can understand, I guess. I'm new here, so I don't really have anyone to eat with. It's not really as relatable as an illness, though. Kind of regret opening my mouth. Hers, though, continues moving as her lips gently let out her unstable speech patterns.
I've been here since last year.
That's actually a pretty sad thought. She's been here this long. How come she's this alone? Even with an illness, you'd expect her friends would still speak to her afterwards. Though I am making assumptions. For all I know, she could be good friends with a classmate that just doesn't eat in school, or is absent. My gut feeling goes with my former conclusion in spite of that idea. She delicately twirls the hair at the tip of her braid nervously during the lag times of our conversation. I can't really think of anything to say, so I decide to do something instead. It's bold, but I tear a sheet of paper from one of my books and scribble my phone number on it. If you ever need anyone to keep you company, then you can call me anytime. Or if you see me around school, just say hi. I doubt she'll do either anyway. To downplay the forwardness of my actions, I think of the cheesiest quote I can and continue speaking. Birds of a feather flock together.
You're giving me your number?
Though her voice is quiet, I can still sense she's a bit shaken up. I thought giving it to her would be acceptable in this day and age. People are practically dependent on their phones now. Still, giving your number to someone of the opposite sex will probably remain direct for years to come.
Thank you.
For some reason, she thanks me. Her pale fingers reach out towards her bag, and she gently takes out a rather pink and cute-looking phone. I didn't know anyone still used phone straps, but daffodil charm swings in the air as she enters my number, her body shaking slightly all the while.
You're the first in the non-relative section.
Finishing her sentence with a smile, she gazes at me. I smile back, of course, which in itself takes me a bit of courage, but her eyes quickly dart away to break our state of eye contact. She goes red again, and her mouth is slightly ajar, leaving her lips to glisten as the sunlight enters from the windows beside us. The chimes of the bell resonate throughout the room. I guess it's time to get prepared to go to class again. Carrie stands and shyly looks toward me as if expecting me to say something, which, luckily for her, I do. I enjoy speaking to her, even if she doesn't say very much. Like I said, feel free to contact me anytime. Right now, I guess we should head back to class.
Okay.
She trots along by my side, slightly behind me. Probably to keep her blushing face hidden, I guess. She seems to have a habit of going red. We part ways when I reach my classroom, with her giving me a hardly audible farewell once we do. The wooden chair behind my back is rigid and sticks into me, causing slight discomfort. My eyes dart across the pages before me, looking for any information that could make my life easier. I hate homework. Words echo around the room as I speak solemnly to myself. I thought that it would be easier to just copy the answers straight from the textbook, but apparently they're not here. This heavy workload however, does seem to compensate for that rather tranquil day at school. I did meet someone interesting, though. The blossom of rose on her cheeks, her silky golden hair, and her hushed voice. Carrie's presence would be minuscule by many, but I can't get her off my mind. Paul, dinner's almost ready. Calls from my mother rinse my ears. I just about give up on my homework. It's not due for another week anyway, so I close the book and haphazardly toss it back on the shelf. The smell of cooking guides my way towards my door, but just as I'm about to leave my room, something stops me. My cell phone chimes and vibrates slightly on my desk, leaving me to consider who might be calling. If you ever need anyone to keep you company, then you can call me anytime. Or see me around school, just say hi. That's right, I gave Carrie my number, didn't I? I wasn't really expecting her to call me, but I guess she was probably checking that I wasn't giving her a fake number as a joke. Paul, are you coming? I'll be down in a minute. Probably not a minute, but it shouldn't be that long. I might just tell Carrie to call me back, but the least I can do is answer the phone. Especially since I could said any time. I pick up the device from my desk and answer the call. Carrie breathes through the speaker, her nervousness all too apparent, even through a mobile call. Hello? Carrie?
Hello? I wanted to see if you'd answer.
Exactly what I was expecting. Carrie's voice seems a lot clearer, and the nervousness I had once heard is pretty much gone. Is it because she isn't speaking to me in person? Of course I'd answer. I gave you my number, didn't I?
You did. Thank you.
You didn't think it was fake, did you? I teased her about it. To be honest, if she gave me her number, I'd probably think it was fake too. That is, if she wasn't so timid anyway. If her personality was different, she'd probably be pretty popular. Don't worry, I'm only teasing.
Oh,
Teasing a girl I just met seems pretty abnormal, but again, to deny her response was adorable. You seem fairly relaxed. I call her out on the contrast of her speech patterns. I already know the answer, but I just want to show her that she can speak to people clearly if she just tries.
I find it easier speaking to people over the phone. I'm sorry if it seems rude.
No, it's fine.
I call my father a lot.
She did say I was her first non-relative contact.
I really wanted to speak to you.
Her stutters flare up again. The concept of calling someone from school is still probably quite foreign to her. Paul, your dinner will go cold at this rate. Get another shout from the dining room, but now my family's probably started eating without me. It's quite a traditional thing in this house for everyone to eat together. I'll have to tell Carrie to call me back. I'd like to speak to you too, but do you think you can call me back? Probably about half an hour. My dinner is ready, and my mother's being quite persistent about it.
Oh, okay.
Carrie sounded a bit dejected about it, but there's nothing I can do. My mother is quite strict at times, and she'll probably scold me for ignoring her if I don't go now. Carrie and I bid temporary farewells, and I head downstairs, leaving the phone on my desk. An aromatic smell hits my nostrils as I enter the living room. 3 pairs of eyes are looking in my direction. It seems my family are well into their meals. Finally decided to join us, brother? My little sister gives me a cheeky remark as I pull out the chair next to her and sit down to feast upon my now lukewarm meal. I'm too lazy to microwave it. How was school? You went about an hour early, didn't you? You knew about that? I did tell you the clock was broken before you left. Oh, so that's what she was trying to tell me. You can hardly call it before I left. I was out the door at that point. Well, I didn't exactly turn around to find out what you said. Well, the extra school is good for your brother. Don't tell him about it next time. My father lets out an exuberant laugh as I continue eating. I don't think he realizes that no matter what time I get to school, classes don't start until they're scheduled to. In retrospect, I did get something out of going to school early today. Wouldn't have met Carrie otherwise. That reminds me, son. Have you met any fit girls? I asked you at breakfast and I didn't hear your response. I didn't give a response. That's because it's a stupid question. Interrupting my father just as she did before, my mother joins the conversation. Perhaps I should actually give him an answer. He won't stop asking me otherwise. I answered this last time, but again, I think I wouldn't hide it. My relationship with Carrie is somewhat primitive, at least in a sense. I haven't even known her for more than a day, and I'm talking to her over the phone. I can't deny I find her cute, attractive even, but I don't think this is a time or place to be thinking about that sort of thing. Telling my father about her doesn't seem like a good idea in the slightest. Don't worry, son. That face is the only answer I'll ever need. The look on your face. I know what it means. Go get her, son. My father gives her a thumbs up from across the table, and my mother bats him a scornful expression. He's not a pervert like you. You only have to listen to him, Paul. Is it really perversion to find a girl attractive in when you're in high school? When you're, a boy? A clean plate sits in front of me as I finish up the remnants of my meal. I want to leave the room quickly so I don't have to face any more questions my father might conjure up. I stand up from the chair, moving to the sink to quickly wash my dish. The The thought of Carrie lingers on my mind as I leave the room and make my way step by step up the stairs. It's not unreasonable to suggest that I could end up in a sort of relationship with her. There's no sign of her having any friends aside from myself, and she is pretty attractive, to be honest. We haven't even changed scenes since she's saying things like that again. Letting my mind wander like this isn't good. It's too early to think about developing a relationship with her. We'd only just met this morning. On the topic of Carrie, I need to call her back in a minute. Waiting for her to call again isn't an efficient use of time. Swinging it open, the door toward my room creaks as I enter. My eyes shift toward my desk and I reach out for my phone. Clutching the phone in my hand, I read out the last number that called, and Carrie's number appears on the screen. They should really have given that phone another image, because it's hardly an incoming call if I'm the one making it. It doesn't take long for her to pick up. Wonder if she was waiting for me. It's a pretty quick answer.
Hello?
Hey, Carrie, where were we?
We weren't really talking about anything.
That's right. We weren't really talking about anything in particular before. How about we talk for a bit then?
About what?
Carrie's stutter flares up again. It's kind of cute, but I wouldn't really tell her that. What am I saying? What about hobbies?
Hobbies?
Yeah, I know you like literature, but is there anything else you like? Carrie pauses for a brief moment, and the sound of her breathing flows out of the speaker beside my ear.
I like the harp.
The harp? You mean the instrument?
Yes, I can play it.
So she can play the harp. That reminds me. So it's like the school's logo then.
The harp is a classical Celtic instrument.
That must be it. I'm sure Wales is a Celtic country.
What about yours?
My what?
Your hobbies.
She wants to know my hobbies? Well, I did ask her the question after all. The problem is, though, that I can't really think of anything that I would consider a hobby. There's nothing notable.
Oh, would you like to borrow one of my books?
Sharing a hobby with her wouldn't be a bad thing. I guess I could give it a go. Sure, you can lend me one you like.
Okay. Will you meet me at lunch?
Of course.
So I can give it to you.
That too. Yeah, that's fine. Thinking back on what my father had said before, I can definitely say that I like Carrie. Though in what way, it's hard to tell. Maybe straddling the line between, It's not unreasonable to say that there's a possibility she is kind of sweet after all. Though I don't know, I shouldn't really think about it now.
Thank you. I promise you'll enjoy reading it.
I imagine Carrie pulling a cute smile to match the enthusiasm she put into that statement. She must really have a passion for reading, beyond wanting to study literature. I'm looking forward to it. I hear a voice that isn't Carrie's coming from the end of the line. I guess someone must be calling out to her.
Sorry. My father's calling me for dinner.
Don't worry. I left her at dinner earlier. You go and have yours. I'll see you at school tomorrow.
Okay. I'll see you then. Goodbye.
Bye. The line falls silent as Carrie hangs up, and I place the phone back down on my desk once again. For the first time this past fortnight, I'm actually looking forward to going to school. Though, of course, not for the reason that school exists. Carrie and I have seemed to have developed quite a good friendship within just the course of a day. Quite surprising, really. As I return to the seat by my desk, I peer at the sprawl of papers I had left before me. Oh, right, I was doing homework. There's nothing else I can think of doing, so I reach up to the shelf where I had left my workbook and continue on with the task I was doing. Get out of the way now. Maybe I'll have more time later in the week to speak with Carrie again. A breeze rustles my coat as I approach the school gates. In contrast to yesterday, I'm actually here at the right time. The sounds and sights of other students fill my mind as I move swiftly to get to homeroom. The mornings this time of year are very cold, but I expect it to be a lot warmer this far south. Dispelling the idle thoughts in my head, one thing sure is missing: the presence of Carrie. I kinda walked to school with her yesterday, so I thought I'd see her again today. I guess for her it wasn't a mistake that she came so early. She told me to meet her at lunch so she should get me a book, didn't she? That sure is something to look forward to. My timetable lessons don't look very promising, so it'll give me something to think about till then. The half-full classroom is split between those enthralled to begin lessons and the apathetic slackers who just wanted to get it over with. I sit at my desk and join the latter group. Dust shimmers and sunlight enters through the windows. One by one, more students enter the class as the clock on the wall creeps toward 8 o'clock. My mind wanders onto the thought of Carrie once more. Where am I supposed to find her when the lunch bell rings? The most reasonable place would be the cafeteria. That's where I found her yesterday. Or maybe not. I doubt she'd be comfortable giving me a present in front of a crowd of people, even if it is just a book. I lean back against the chair as I typically would and slowly watch the clock spin and spin as lessons go by, waiting for the lunch bell to arrive. Stretching my arms, I look up at the clock to check if the sound I just heard wasn't a hallucination. I don't have schizophrenia as far as I'm aware. People are definitely getting up and leaving the classroom, likely heading towards the cafeteria. Some do stay behind. I guess various Japanese high school customs still stick, even if we're in school. The curriculum may be different, but the attitude of the students certainly isn't. Standing up, I trail behind everyone else to leave the room. Looks like I'm the last person to leave. The corridor isn't the only thing that greets me as I step outside.
Here you go. I promised to give it to you.
Before me stands Carrie, basking in the sunlight. A book is held out in her hands and practically shoved into my chest. Her face is red, apt for the situation. I'm pretty sure mine is too. The blossom of embarrassment on her cheeks is a cute sight. She seemed to be reluctant to make eye contact, though. It's only better for me as I get to look at the glint of my own reflection in her amber eyes. Thanks. The book itself looks fairly worn. Judging by the condition of the pages, she must have read this quite a few times. I am only borrowing it, so she probably wants to read it again in the future.
You're welcome. It's one of my favorites, so I hope you enjoy it.
She lightly exclaims that fact, and I take the book from her. The title is embossed on cover as opposed to a fancy design or sleeve. It must be fairly old print. Despite its blemishes, she seems to have taken quite good care of it. Once again, I look at Carrie's cute profile. She still holds a blush, which suits her all too well, an adorable trait of hers. Her breath is still ragged with nervousness. I watch her chest move inward and out as she gains control of her breathing. But I quickly look away after I realize how perverse the action is. How about we go get some lunch then? We can't keep standing around here. I slipped the book into my bag carefully and invite Carrie to join me for lunch.
Sure. I'd love to.
Carrie slightly jitters as we both head down the corridor towards the cafeteria as I spend my second lunch break of the week with her. No doubt I can get used to this, though I feel as if I already am. Too bad we don't get to see that conversation. Noise resonates through the walls of my room as I hear my sister blasting some foreign pop music, all the while speaking to her friend on the phone. I was going there to tell her to quiet down, but I'm too lazy to do so. After enjoying a nice lunch break with Carrie, despite neither of us really saying anything, the remaining classes were rather dull and uninteresting. The only thing that really kept me going was the thought of Carrie, as dodgy as that sounds. I look to the right. Beside me sits the book Carrie had given me earlier. Reading it now would give me something to do, but I don't think I could make it that far into it. It's quite late. I still have some work left to do. Though I'm reminded of Carrie's flustered pace as she presented it to me. It really meant a lot to her. Giving a read couldn't hurt, could it? What would I do in this situation? Somewhat a good ending. The book is fairly thin, though it'll take me until tomorrow night at the earliest to finish it. That's if I can read it fast enough. Though if Carrie asks me tomorrow, at least I'll have something to talk to her about. Grasping the book, I open the cover and begin reading it page by page. The theme is quite apparent even before the end of the first chapter. It's a love story. The book suits Carrie pretty well. It would have been weird if the book was a sci-fi novel or something absurd like a guide on dog grooming. Does she even have a dog? I wouldn't know. Soon enough, I find myself at the end of the second chapter. So far, it's been fairly interesting. Definitely something different from what I was expecting from a love story. I should probably make a few mental notes of what I've read so far, just to give us something to talk about. She doesn't really converse that much. I want to talk with her more. I set the book down beside me, where it once sat. My body twists as I slip out of the space between the chair and my desk. For once, I should probably get to dinner earlier. The path to school has now become quite familiar, now that I've had 2 weeks to remember it. A mild gust blows leaves across the pavement, and I watch them get tousled around without direction. Just as I stand across the street, I feel a dainty tap on my shoulder. Looking to my side, the person I've been wanting to see the most recently stands before my eyes, a sight to behold.
Good morning.
Carrie greets me, her lips curling up slightly into a delicate smile. Good morning, Carrie. As the light turns green, we both walk harmoniously across. It's not really a surprise for me to meet Carrie here. I'm pretty sure she did share part of the walk to school with me. This is where I first met her, after all. We kind of met in front of school. This is where I first saw her and got her card. So, how are you today, Carrie? And I threw the question out to try to make conversation. I enjoy being with her, but getting her to speak up would make the experience a lot better.
I'm good. Thank you. What about you?
I'm good as well. Carrie smiles at my answer. I guess knowing that your friends are in good spirits is a happy thought. As I take occasional glances to my side, I seem to notice Carrie slowly looking in my direction from time to time as well. She turns her head whenever I spot her. Does she want to ask me something? Anything on your mind?
Ah!
Seems I've caught her off guard.
I wanted to know. Can I walk to school with you more often?
She wants to walk to school with me? The question seems bold, but pretty bold for her, but I oblige. Sure thing. I mean, I kind of was hoping to do so sometime last week, and it didn't happen. I think that's what it was last week. I forget the time scale. Carrie smiles and nods her head cheerfully. I can't deny wanting to walk to school with her as well. I looked at my watch to check the time. It's almost 7:45. Shall we meet where we met today then? At 7:35?
That's good with me.
So it's settled then. From today onwards I'll be meeting and walking with a girl on the way to school. It's not something I expected to happen, but I can't complain. In fact, I'm happy. We passed through the school gates and towards the main building, both of us stopping to part ways. I'll see you later then, Carrie. Lunch, right?
Sure. Lunch it is.
I head down the path toward my class, with my plans for the day pretty much settled. The lunch bell stops ringing just as I make my way out of the classroom. Our teacher let us out early. I'm pretty sure she's as enthusiastic about the lessons as we are. I move through the corridor and unsurprisingly find someone waiting for me.
Hello.
Hey, Carrie, shall we get going to the cafeteria then?
Can we stop by the library first? I need to return a book.
She wants to go to the library? I'm not against it. I wasn't really that hungry anyway. Yeah, sure. Speaking of books, I started reading that book you gave me. I've really been liking it so far.
That's good.
Carrie smiles and turns her head in my direction.
Would you like to go to the library with me?
She sounds anxious, even more than normal. I thought were already going to the library.
Not this one. The one in the city.
She wants to go to the city with me? Sure. I can't keep myself from stuttering. Moments ago, Carrie just invited me out to the city. That's quite a direct thing to be asking someone she's only been friends with for mere days. Carrie holds a deep blush on her cheeks. I too can't keep myself from getting a bit tense.
Thank you.
We walk down the corridor in unison, only our footsteps audible as we keep a state of silence between us. Stepping through the door of my house, I am greeted by a sense of warmth, both in a physical and a metaphorical sense. The heater's turned up pretty high, but my mother had seen me entering and greets me. How was school, son? It was good, I guess. It wasn't just good. I know for a fact that it was good. I practically bagged a date with Carrie, in a sense, though I don't think she sees it that way. Well, and only for 2 days. Okay, so it has only been 2 days. So there's no point in getting giddy about it. That's great to hear. My mother wanders off and continues up the stairs to carry on with whatever it was she was doing. I take off my shoes and stroll into the lounge with a slump. One thing about school is that it sure is pretty tiring. Ahead of me sits my father, lying back in his chair, reading a book. He lifts his head and peers toward me, giving me a prodigious grin. Hello, my boy. Seems like you've had a pleasant day at school, am I right? That smile on your face tells me everything you know. No doubt he spotted my upbeat aura. It's not as if I was trying to hide it. You could say I had a nice day. Tell me then, son. I need to know. He sets his book down on the floor beside him and sits forward to engage himself in our conversation. Oh, it's nothing. I'm just going somewhere with a friend on the weekend. I say the weekend, but Carrie never gave me a date as to when she wanted to go. I'll just have to ask her. Friend? What sort of friend? Is it a girl? Straight on to the girls as always. Can't say that I never considered the topic before. Carrie is, of course, a girl. Rather nice one, too. Though I don't know whether telling my father would be the most ingenious of ideas. He'll just keep asking questions until he gets to see her. That's what I expect him to do anyway. I think I'll be forthright about it this time. Oh, it's a girl. A girl? Well, congratulations, my boy. I was waiting for the day to start dating girls. It's not a date, it's just a day out. It's not much difference in how you pronounce the words. I'm not really sure what it is. She told me that she wanted me to go to the library with her, but surely she must be planning on something more than that. Still counts, boy. Hope you make the most of it. His words only partially make it into my head. He's always been like this. I took another look at him and realized he's reading a book. He is a publisher after all, so it's his job to check over things friends sent it to him. The print on the book's cover looks familiar. I noticed the author's name and realized what the connection is. That's the same author as... Same as what, my boy? The book Carrie gave to me. Going by the condition of the book she gave me, she must really like his work. That girl I'm meeting with on the weekend, she really likes the author's work. I don't really know the best way to put it. I don't think telling my father would really achieve anything. Should have kept it to myself. Why didn't you tell me, son? I'm good friends with this guy. He always makes me read his book before I sell him. I don't even like romance. Carrie does, though. Maybe getting her a copy would be a good idea. She gave me a gift, after all, even if I only lent it. Might as well return the favor. Would it be okay if I lent a copy? Lend one? Just take the whole pile. She gave me 2 copies of the thing. Instead, I only take one from the top of the pile. My father always has a way to make things absurd. Good thinking, boy. Sure she'll enjoy that. It's always best to get on their good side. Well, I think I already kind of am on her good side. But still, can't hurt. For once, I agree with him. Giving her a gift wouldn't be a bad idea, no matter the reason behind it. Alright, thanks, Dad. Don't thank me. Thank the guy that thinks it's funny to deliver me a ton of books every 2 months. With that, I leave the room and head toward the stairs. Reflecting on what just happened, it was a pretty lucky thing to be able to get this book for Carrie. Chances of it happening were pretty slim, but my father being a publisher definitely helps in a way. What if his company published the book Carrie gave me? I never actually checked. Do we still have it? I make my way to my room, planning to give Carrie a call once inside. We really need to make arrangements for our trip. Nothing's changed. It's still in the same messy state that it always has been. I'm in my bedroom once again, and shortly I'll be on my phone with Carrie for the second time this week. Just like everything else, my phone is where I left it. I pick it up and find Carrie in my contacts list and proceed with the call. The phone rings as I idly wait for her to pick up.
Hello?
Carrie answers the phone as I expected her to. It'd be weird if someone else did. I need to get straight to the point. What foreshadowing. We didn't come to an agreement as to when and where we're going to meet for our trip. All I know is that we're going to the library. Hey Carrie, how are you? I started conversing with her. Speaking to her is something I enjoy doing, so when giving her a chance to embrace the opportunity, I certainly take it.
I'm good. What about you?
I'm good too, especially since I get to speak to her. About our trip, we never made any plans, did we?
Oh, I forgot to tell you. I'm sorry.
It's okay, really. Any particular day we were planning on going? I realized I could have just asked her tomorrow. Maybe I just wanted to hear her voice for one more time today. It's a beautiful melody.
What about Saturday? Is that fine with you?
Yeah, Saturday is good. What time should we meet?
Could you meet me where we met on the way to school? At 10 a.m.?
Certainly. That's settled then. Carrie and I will meet this Saturday. Our Saturdays are entirely free. We follow the British curriculum after all, which is good since we get to do things like this.
I'll lead you there. You just moved here, didn't you?
I did. Thanks, Carrie. I appreciate it. Would have followed her anyway. It was her idea to go. Plus, it's Carrie. Why wouldn't I? Some muffled calls of Carrie's name were audible in the background as Carrie remained in silence. She must still be a bit flustered after I thanked her.
Sorry, I need to go to dinner. I don't think I'll be able to call you back.
I hear her whimper through the end of the line. I guess she's as upset as I am having to end the call early and abruptly. Don't worry, Carrie. We'll be meeting on the way to school tomorrow, yes?
That's right. I'll see you then.
Bye, Carrie.
Bye.
The line goes silent as Carrie hangs up. With that done, I guess I'll have to find something to do. Paul, dinner's ready. There we go. I need to go to dinner too. Both my parents sit at the dinner table, but it seems as if my sister hasn't made her way down yet. That girl sure is busy. Doesn't she have any respect? It's dinner time. A wonderful family bonding session. Leave her alone. She's busy with schoolwork. Don't you want her to do well in her studies? Well, not having meals isn't a good way to do that. I do, yes. You're right, darling. The pair chow down their sausages and mashed potatoes. I guess my mother cooked some traditional English food today. Paul, I do have a good time on the phone. Who are you speaking to? It's probably that girl I was talking about earlier. Ain't that right, son? You were eavesdropping on me? I just heard a few things, that's all. Well, whatever you were saying, I'm glad you managed to make it to dinner this time. Because it's a wonderful family bonding session? That's right, boy. Glad you finally learned it. Like someone in this household. She's doing schoolwork. Oh yeah, I forgot. How this guy manages to run a company, I'll never know. Continue to eat my food as my parents start discussing topics which aren't of any interest to me. My sister eventually makes her way downstairs and sits beside me at the table. Fingers and mash, again. What's wrong with traditional English food? I didn't travel there just for the women, you know. Well, you could have other English food. My mother laughs at my father's statement. Why can't we have curry? We have curry as often as we have this. I finish up the last of my meal and stand up in order to put my plate in the sink. With that done, I guess I have the rest of the day to do whatever I like. After I finish my homework, anyway. I head toward the stairs again to retreat back up to my room. Before I make it, my sister calls out to me. Paul, can you help me with some questions later? I don't really want to. Sure thing. Okay, it's getting pretty close to an hour, so I will save this for next time.